ask you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with my great friends, Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well. Uh, it's over now. It's been over for me with my brackets for the long time, for the longest. I didn't do a bracket, Tim, because I knew it would have been bad, and it would have been bad. But hey, we got a champion. We got two champions now. South Carolina Lady Gamecocks on the ladies' side. And last night, UConn made it back to back to the shock of so many people. Tree didn't even realize UConn won it last year.
Last year was a gun. I just want to tell you, Ricky, we don't need no stinking brackets, just so you know. We don't need those. I think it's a great thing to do, and it's fun. But yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
But you know what? This year, first time really, I noticed a lot of my friends didn't even do brackets. Did you guys sense any of that in where you are? People just saying, "Oh, what the hell?"
Just in our household. How about you, Tim?
No, there are people I know that still do them. You know, and they're just like anybody. It's still like Barkley. They become an expert that Thursday, the first games. Basketball. They watch the game all year, but they're gonna tell you who's winning or whatever. So I know people who still do it. I can't do it because I don't watch enough of it.
Yeah,
and I think it's disingenuous to get up there and pretend to know what's going on.
No, I think that's a good point, man, because I think we see, there's no doubt college basketball is saturated. We see so many games now, and we know all these games really, unless it's a rival game, and sometimes you see a great game, but we know this stuff doesn't really matter until later in the season. Everything it's kind of like the Braves. You know the Braves are going to be in the playoffs. You're just waiting for September.
But I don't know about that. But yeah, it's sort of kind of like that. But I think it's getting that way with all the sports. The way they're expanding the playoffs and adding games and that kind of thing, where it's like the regular season, for the most part, is immaterial. I mean, the NBA is coming down to the final week of the regular season. NFL, you really don't start paying attention until maybe the midway point. Unless your team is like 0-6 and you know you got no shot, coming down the thing. And all these baseball expanded its playoffs because I can't think of the last time where, I think like last year, there are a couple of teams that won 100 games and they didn't even make they weren't in the World Series. It's just they got eliminated. I mean, the Phillies have been the Braves' Achilles heel the past 2 years. So I think it's like that with all these sports. It's just too many games. You may watch the conference tournaments because that matters. It helps with the seeding, with the brackets and the seedings going into the tournament. But beyond that, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of basketball until the everybody's championship. Yeah.
Yeah, and last night watching that UConn game, I made it to halftime, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I had it on, but I was studying, and so it's just like I figured we would talk about it, which is probably the only reason I watched. It just wasn't interesting. The women's games were so intriguing and so much fun to watch, which is totally different from how I have always thought about college basketball. So now I love the women's basketball.
Yeah, they got a bunch of young stars that are coming up too. That's the thing about it, and how they play the game. They play team ball. It's a different thing from what the guys and how they play ball. It's just totally different. And you get up there, that the game Friday night had 14 million people, the most watched basketball game on ESPN anytime. And I think the game Sunday, they had 18 million viewers, which was more people than watched last year's World Series.
Wow.
And I
So
think probably that rivalry that they manufactured, right, of Caitlyn and versus, you know, everybody helped kind of wrapped up the.
Yeah,
it wasn't so
that's
much a rivalry as it was just like, okay, as you could tell by the coverage,
Mhm.
win or lose, they're gonna run Caitlyn stuff out there, and it was all her. All it means, like even after the game, South Carolina won. Did we have to follow the girl into the locker room?
I know that bothered me so much.
The whole
yeah.
thing is like, we got all these packages on her. We're gonna wear these bad boys out, and South Carolina won, which I thought was like, can we stop focusing on her? Granted, stepping back, and
Yeah,
Staley said, yes, she is one of the GOATs
mhm.
of all time in women basketball. Not the GOAT, one of the GOATs. So, and you have to give her props because, my goodness, when they got out to that 10-0 start,
Mm.
I thought it was over. I
Yeah.
thought it was over.
Yeah, I mean, we just love Don Staley, and we're gonna get into some of this with our guest, NBA legend and a coaching legend, Ray Scott, our great friend, is going to join us in a few minutes, and because I want him to, I want to go over that charge call in the semifinal game between UConn and Iowa. And I do believe in the thing that one call doesn't win or lose a game. But my bigger problem with that is that man, you were kind of letting them play, and then all of a sudden you call them out.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Tim and I talked about this earlier. Go on.
Come on. I had a deal with that. My brother, who was an official, asked me that question. He's like, was that a charge? Was that a foul? I said, yeah, it was a foul. He goes, if I'm officiating, it's not happening. I'm like, okay, so a foul is a foul is a foul. I don't care if it's a foul on the handshake when they start the game or when they leave in the court. If the person leans in, if she does what she does, it's a foul. I don't care if it's 3.6 seconds or 3 seconds to go in the game. I don't believe in this swallowing the whistle stuff. I don't believe in this. You can't make that kind of call at somebody's home or XYZ. We get these home calls, and that stuff irks me to think that people really are beholden to these unwritten rules.
I hear you on that, Tim, but my point is, if that's the case, Caitlin Clark's not even in the game at the end of the game. When she's coming down and she's going into defenders, that's a charge to me. And it's physical. As physical as women's basketball, in my opinion, is more physical than the men, especially in the post area. We'd be at the foul line all night. So yeah, and I never said it wasn't a foul. And Tim's making faces. I never said it wasn't a foul.
You said it wasn't a foul, but you said it was.
Did that foul impede their ability to defend on that play? I mean,
but that's the thing. You don't know. If they don't know and they play it out, does Iowa get the ball to Caitlin, and does she make a play? Because at some point she's gonna force the action, and more than likely they're gonna call a foul if she's making a move to the basket. You have to all these suppositions, or she's gonna pass it to this other guard that she always passed to, and who she always makes the right play. Even when she's not shooting, she makes the right pass all the time.
She's great. She is a great player.
Absolutely. And so you don't know what would have happened had the play continued, but it didn't.
I mean, it is what it is, Trey. I mean,
Right.
they made the call.
Right, but Tim, we were talking earlier, didn't we say that it doesn't matter when it's called, if it's a foul, it's a foul, right?
Right.
So
a foul is a foul. It's not like, okay, well, this is a first quarter foul.
Mhm.
This is a third quarter foul. And this is a foul in the last 30 seconds. These are different types of fouls. And, that's why really when you watch the NBA game, if it's a close game, that's why they have a report called the last 2 minutes, because it seems like the games are officiated differently in the last 2 minutes when it shouldn't be, when you got the other 46 minutes matter too.
Yeah, and that is the reality of the way these games are officiated. I think, man, you know what, we're gonna have to get our buddy Derek Stafford on.
I was thinking about Derek earlier this week, and I said, give him a call. He's a guy I think he'll be a dude that'll be like a let it go type of dude. Because I've seen him work games, and you'll see somebody getting beat up in front of him, and then he'll just, he'll have the whistle in his mouth, but he won't make the call. I mean, but Derek is a 30-year, he just retired, 30-year NBA veteran, and I think he would be great for that kind of argument.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I was actually, I called myself texting with our friend of the show, Derek Gervin, the other day, and I was texting with Derek Stafford, and he said, "Hey man, this is Derek Stafford, not Derek." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." But we'll make that happen, and I have video of that play, but I want to wait for Ray to get here to break that down. But I think this is the story of the month. Let's just let this go right here.
So the confrontation for the second time. Aaron walked in the second inning. He means the tying run at the plate now. So we'll see what Downing does. Al at the belt, delivers, and he's low. Ball one. And that just adds to the pressure. The crowd booing. Downing has to ignore the sound effects and stay
This is the voice of Vince Scully.
1 ball and no strikes. Aaron waiting. The outfield deep and straight away. Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone.
I still get chills watching that. I mean, I really still.
Really.
Tim was there. Tim was there.
Tim. So how come you didn't get to the outfield, man?
How come you didn't run out there?
Those two dudes beat me to it. I don't want to, just, you got, if you see one brother run out there with two people who don't look like that, going to get beat down in 74.
I mean, that is Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's home run record in 1974. And I've watched that thing 1,000 times, and it is probably the greatest highlight ever for me, anyway. I mean, really.
For sure I do.
What does that mean to you, Tim? Being in the stadium.
Oh, I was like, I thought I was dreaming. Actually, it was surreal watching it, and then just losing it, and then being there last night for the 50th anniversary of it, and running in there real quick. And I forgot to bring it in here. Got a bobblehead last night. Got a T-shirt with the commemorating it, and this I have in here. Everybody who was there last night got a poster of the home run.
That's lovely.
Wow. Yeah.
So and they got people that said ask people to stand up if you were in the ballpark. Stand up if you were there 50 years ago, and it looked like there's about maybe 100 or so people that stood up that were in the ballpark. And you think about it. I was telling people I had the certificate from that night. They passed out these things to authenticate you being there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Did they do that before or
they
during?
did it after he hit the home run. You go to customer service, run out there, pick up a little placard that had 715 on it, and it says you were there the night, blah, blah, blah. In 1984, I was working at the newspaper in Columbus, went back for the reenactment of that. Well, Hank pitched to Al Downing after a Braves game on a Sunday afternoon. And I got both Aaron and Downing to sign mine.
Wow.
Which was great. But
wow.
yeah, somehow it is lost. I have
I was
no
going
idea.
to ask you, where is it? That was my next
I
question.
have no idea where it is. It was
Ah,
at my parents' house, and I don't know where it is. And I'm just tripping about that. So
Damn.
yeah. So yeah. I would hazard a guess. I'm the only person that had that very thing.
better
Because
check
I
your
was looking at the media
Goodwills.
person, and I caught them both in the Braves locker room, and they had this big box of baseballs with the San Diego Padre logo on it. All the baseballs in there were home run hitting contest baseballs. Essentially, it was a glorified golf balls. And but it took Hank about like a dozen or so swings before he hit the ball out of the park. And those two dudes who caught him at shortstop, they came back out 10 years later and came out there and did the same thing. Both of them at least 30 pounds heavier.
What?
And then, they did the whole thing when he came around and scored.
You're kidding me. I don't remember that. I'm sure I did at the time.
And so, and then when I moved to Houston, I was able to go to the press box, and like Milo Hamilton, the guy who made the call.
Oh yeah.
I got a chance to.
A legend.
I said, you complete the triumvirate. I've already met Aaron and Downing, and now, I met you. And so it was real appreciative of that. And his buddy, his play-by-play buddy, wanted to horn in on it, Larry Durker, who I didn't want to talk to. But he gave me Larry, but Larry gave me his baseball card. Okay, thanks.
Tim, after this show, you need to start searching for that immediately.
Oh man, there's no way. It's probably somewhere in a landfill somewhere, because my parents were throwing stuff out.
Or in a Goodwill, you think? Maybe? No?
Because I'm sure there's some value to that.
Oh, this is what I'm saying. I'm quite sure it's the only one like that anywhere. But somewhere out there in the world, there's a plaque, one of those certificates with the signature on it. And Downing was there last night. They brought back before the game, they had a ceremony where they brought back teammates of his. And they had these things, people they call the A-listers. And everybody had a baseball with a date on it for all 755 of his home runs from the left field to the right field. There were people holding up baseballs commemorating each home run that was hit and which part of the ballpark it was hit. Wow. So it was well done. They brought back, and Billy Aaron was there, had his grandkids throw out. One grandkid threw out the first pitch. The other grandkid got to say play ball. Dusty Baker was there with Ralph Garr. There's a bunch of guys there, a bunch of old Braves that were there to commemorate that. So it was an incredible moment. I don't know if you can even see that. Maybe not. Is the camera? That's everybody on the field with the baseballs.
Oh, cool.
Littered in the field. So
yeah, that I certainly didn't understand it back then, just as a kid. But now looking back on it, man, that it meant so much more than just baseball.
Oh yeah.
When you look at everything he had to deal with, Trey, with the death threats, and he handled all that with so much dignity and courage.
Right.
And I remember it was a few years ago, some sports columnist trying to make a name for himself called him a coward or something. It's like, dude, some of these guys should be banned from the profession.
Well, they need to try to make a name for themselves. One more thing before the night is out. I do this photo. Cheesy head person. The ball and the bat from that night are encased in glass at the stadium.
Wow.
So that's the home run ball. Tom House, the guy who caught the ball, was there as well. And they had it. And just as they brought out the commemorative T-shirts, I got one on.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. You know what? I remember going to the Braves games and thinking that people thinking this is going to be the night that he broke the record. It was like, nope. And I think it might have been like the next one that we didn't go to.
I was following that big time because I think they were in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't. I wanted him to do it in Cincinnati. I was actually pulling for him not to hit it. I mean, the only time I ever pulled against him, not to do something. I wanted him to do it at home. For some reason, I thought that was important. And they showed the games in Cincinnati, which back then you just didn't get games every night like you do now.
Right. And they were made to Bowie Kuhn made the Braves play Aaron. They were going to sit Aaron after he hit 714. They were going to sit him down to ensure that he was going to hit the home run in Atlanta. And Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner of baseball then, told the Braves, "No, he's going to play." And he didn't hit the home run. And then that really upset people in Atlanta that he's going to get up there and try to regulate that kind of thing. So. Yeah, that home opener in Atlanta. Guess who wasn't at the ballpark? Bowie Kuhn.
Right.
Yeah, he knew what was up.
He'd have never got away with demanding that today.
No, sir. Not at all.
With the power.
It was like celebrities. You think of that night I looked around and I saw coming up the aisle, Pearl Bailey coming up the aisle. And then you see Sammy Davis Jr. coming up the aisle. And it's like, okay, so it's like they do at the NBA games when the stars come out for these big games. So it was because baseball was the first sport for the African American community. Yeah,
that we really followed, man. With the Negro League teams, the legendary players from that time, and Josh Gibson and all those guys, and of course Jackie Robinson signing with the Dodgers. That's why a lot of black folks were Dodger fans because they followed Jackie.
Wasn't it you, Tree, that talked about the difference between Jack and Jackie Robinson?
Jack and Jackie Robinson?
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't. I was thinking it was you that told me, but it was a deal where the people that knew Jackie Robinson did not call him Jackie. They called him Jack.
Yeah.
The Jackie thing comes with, baseball people always want to put an IE or a Y on your name. And so it makes you more palatable. Just like, they always try to anglicize people's names instead of learning what their name is. Like it's got Javier Lopez in Atlanta and they called him Javi. Mom called him Javier. I'm gonna call him Javier.
I'm gonna call you Timothy.
There you go. Timmy, that was a thing. Like, no,
we're not doing that.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. I'm hoping. I'm checking in to make sure we get Ray, because I definitely want to get into some of this basketball stuff.
We can always circle back.
No, go ahead, Tree.
No, so we can always circle back when he comes. But I was rolling around this golf ball in my hand, and I know you're a fan of golf. Are you excited about anything that's coming up?
Yes, ma'am. The official start of spring is on Thursday.
Was a putt course there in Detroit? Is that what's going on?
No, that Augusta National. And it's supposed to be bad weather. You guys are getting bad weather down that way, right?
On Thursday here. I don't know what's happening, Tim, with the weather in Augusta.
Well, it's raining today. It's going to be nasty on Thursday. It's severe weather Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me that how bad it is now. It's supposed to be great for the weekend though, but there were tornado warnings in 2019. There were tornado warnings all over Georgia that day. It was a Sunday. In 2019 is the year Tiger won. Okay,
And they teed off early because of the weather.
yeah, and people all over the place were furious. They had to go to picture in picture with the tornado warnings, and they had to put Augusta, the golf course.
I remember that.
And I'm like, and then you see some irate weather people like, look, your lives are at stake. This is golf, okay?
Yeah.
I know we had a tornado warning over here during the tournament. That's why I remember it, because it was really bad. The weather was.
Yeah. That is definitely one of my favorite tournaments.
So, Ricky, have you been? Have you been to the tournament?
Yes, I used to cover
Okay.
The Masters. I think the last one I covered was 98 with my father shortly before he passed. So that was a great weekend. He got to hang out with Lee Elder and Tiger Woods, and that was a lot of fun. Tiger is playing this week, so he'll probably make the cut. But other than that, I mean, he just can't. Well, for one, he's 47, and golf is a young man's game now, and he can't put the time in to hone his game to the level it needs to be to compete with these young cats at Augusta. But I never say never with that dude, man. He is.
No.
He has.
The world still roots for him to be competitive. Not so much win, but I know the last couple of times you see him, he's going off on a cart with he's injured. He's done something to hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
he said to
not go out like that.
He said today, they asked him at the press conference today, do you think you can still win? He said, yeah, I think I can still win. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. But he also said, I hurt every day, but I'm here because I love golf and I love to compete. And I'm like, hey, bro, you can play that. The thing about the Masters, you can play that till you 90. If you're a champion, you can always come back. But Scotty Scheffler is the guy to watch.
And that's what people are just pretty much putting their money on that. There was an interesting aspect of it. I work at the airport, so a lot more golf club carriers are coming through there. A lot of people are coming out of there with the Masters paraphernalia. I guess it's a week-long thing because a lot of folks are flying out of there with Augusta, with the Augusta National logo on shirts.
Yeah.
Trying to, getting up out of there. They come for the first couple of days and go back home, I guess.
Yep, the practice rounds.
Yeah.
What is that? I forgot that. What's that, right about 2 hours down?
You're right about 2 hours from Atlanta. So this week, you don't want to try to get a rental car in Atlanta with cars, because I remember a couple years ago, I had to try to get one, and where they were normally $70, we're going for like $350 a day.
Oh, my goodness.
And what were you going to do? Pay the $350. But it's like, Masters is a fat cat type thing anyway, right? So it was just crazy to see them jack up the prices like they did. It's a supply and demand. Then again, too, the real rich people are jetting into the airport in Augusta. They're not driving from Atlanta over there. So
they're coming in on their own journey. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you been before?
I know some football players, man, that need to fly everywhere they go, or like you said, Tim, get some Uber help or Lyft or something. I mean, what is it with these guys?
Yeah. To answer Tree's question, no, never, nix. I've always thought of it as a place that hasn't been accommodating for some people, and I didn't want to give them the benefit of my presence. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I've had opportunities to go, and I've been like, no, y'all can keep that.
All right. If you have an opportunity to go again, and
Yes,
you don't want to go, let me know, because I would love for somebody in this house to go.
I would do that. Somebody in this house, and I think the person who said that's the one you're talking about.
No.
Okay.
Somebody else. Other person I live with here would love.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Hey, if you you talk about going to Augusta, right?
Yes.
Bro, you should go, man.
They
used to say when you walk in Augusta National, if you see a leaf on the ground, they'll give you $1. I mean, that's how manicured that place.
My son had my middle child had a competition. We spent a week in a week. Felt like a week, 2 days in Augusta, but it felt like a week because there wasn't a whole lot going on. But we went over by Augusta National. It's like you have Augusta National, rest of Augusta. That place is just pristine.
Yeah.
Absolutely pristine.
Yeah.
But you know what they don't? I went, and I think we talked about it before, where when they used to have black caddies,
Right?
Who grew up there on the course, and they knew it. And then once players started bringing their own caddies and families, those individuals were just kind of out of a job. So a lot of that success of those early players were because of those black caddies.
Oh, so well said, Tree.
Come on.
Ben Crenshaw, two-time Masters champion, had Carl Jackson, one of the legendary caddies from Augusta National, who happens to be black. And back in the day, all the caddies were black. And it was Carl who knew that place. The thing about Augusta, I don't think a lot of people see on TV, are the undulations that make the golf course very tricky. And some of the landing areas, the green might be 40 by 50 feet, but the landing area really could be 4 or 5 yards. And if you don't hit those yards, it's going to end up off the grid. And Carl knew that course like the back of his hand. And to Ben's credit, he gave Carl credit for guiding him to those victories. And he caddied for him every year until Ben stopped playing. And Scotty Scheffler was talking about Carl Jackson today. When he first was there, he said he talked with Carl to get his nuance about the course, and it was very helpful.
But didn't it change from you? I mean, I understand after Tiger won a couple of years, you're like, yeah, we got to do something about this. And, they would change pin placements or they would do stuff.
Yeah, Tiger proof, and they couldn't Tiger proof. Whatever you do, the other guys got to play the same course.
Right.
And then Tiger, you got to hit over here, and y'all can hit up here on the
different tee or something.
He gets the white tees.
Yeah. He still got to hit from the same. That was
the senior tees. It's like, okay,
that was always nonsense to me. I just got to know from Ray. He said he was having trouble checking in, so I sent him another link, and hopefully this will get him through. But hey, let's talk a little NFL before we get Ray on. Hey, it's exciting around here in the Detroit area because the NFL draft will be here in a couple of weeks. And when you go downtown, they're already setting up exhibits and the main area where the draft will actually take place, and closing down streets. I don't go downtown a lot anymore, Tree. So it's pretty cool, but the city is just, it's still electric from the Lions run and now having this draft here.
So we're pretty much going to just blow off the Red Wings and Pistons, right? They don't exist for the Tigers yet.
Well, the Red Wings, the Tigers are in first place, I think.
Yeah, they are. That's what like I said. So it's pretty much going to steal their thunder in April when it finally get off to a hot start. Yeah. Nobody cares. They're all about football.
Yeah, well, the Pistons make their own history, losing 28 straight games this year.
Yikes.
I mean, that is too bad Robin Harris is not around to talk about that. I mean,
No.
He'd have had a field day with that.
Maybe's kids.
But
You said
the
28?
28 consecutive. That's very hard to do.
Yikes.
And they just hired a new coach, Monty Williams, and gave Monty $100 million. And I had never seen a brother look so sad make $100 million than Monty Williams. Because he's running out there with them cats knowing, man, I ain't got a chance to.
I'm going to take this money, though.
Oh, he's going to take his money. So I'm sure he's happy a little bit on payday. So
I think no. Well, see, at some point, you're a competitor, and I know like that Knicks game where it should have been a foul when it's got DiVincenzo slandering one of your players, and it was a critical moment in the game, and they didn't make the call. It was an obvious foul. They didn't make the call, and he lost his mind about that, and rightfully so. I mean, when you're not winning a bunch of games, and then you have a chance to win, and it seems like people are turning it, you don't make that call at that point in the game type stuff.
But I think bad things,
you don't make that call at that point in the game. That's what they did.
Bad things happen to bad teams too. I mean, bad teams
whose city is nothing but bad teams for the most part. Yes.
Yeah, bad things happen to bad teams. I know you're absolutely right about that game, but hey, it is what it is there. And the thing about it, this upcoming NBA draft, people are saying it's not a lot of
it's weak,
big time talent coming out of this draft. You watching Edie last night. I mean, he's a heck of a college player, but you can see he cannot guard that pick and roll.
Right.
And
he was exposed last night by UConn. He was exposed.
Yeah.
He got his 37 or whatever it is, and pretty much they were like, "Yeah, let him get his, but don't let everybody else abuse you." And that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
But there's what is he 7'2"?
7'4".
7'4". Okay, there's some people who'll be eye to eye to him. What's Wembayama? What's he 7'6"?
7'5", I believe.
7'5". Yeah, there you go.
But Edie's 300. Wembayama might be 200. He is a gigantic.
He's a big man.
And
he wore out the other teams. He did not wear out UConn. UConn defensively they played so great.
UConn, they just do what they do, man. They just run their stuff and they just guard you. I mean, there's nothing fancy about them whatsoever.
How many more Hurleys do they have in that family that's gonna coach or play basketball? I know his son was playing last night. Well, he got in the game.
Yeah, they were gonna play garbage time Hurley, and you got Bobby Hurley. You got Coach Hurley and you got Dad Coach Hurley.
Yes, there's so many Hurleys. How many they got?
Bobby, the main was a Bobby, Dan, and
how many coming up though?
Yeah,
there's no more here. Please, no more.
They're gonna keep coming.
But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in UConn with this Kentucky job suddenly open.
Well, I saw the thing today, and people always say stuff in the heat of the moment or really afterwards. I remember Roy Williams after Kentucky lost, after Kansas lost the tournament championship game, and he cussed Bonnie Bernstein out and said, "I don't give a blank about the North Carolina job." And then he went on to coach in North Carolina for I don't know how many years. And then Hurley has already said, "There's no way he's going to Kentucky. No way."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, why would he?
And there's a lot of bourbon money in Kentucky.
but look at their dominance, Tim and Tree. Most wins by 13 points in a single NCAA tournament the last 2 years.
Right.
UConn. And who's their best player? Who's their star? I mean, Klingler, the big yeah.
The big guy in the center was good, but then there's this little guard that hit every shot imaginable, every time they were stressed, he got the ball in his hands and he made shots. So
yeah, I mean, they just do what they do, man.
They're gonna make it do what it do.
And to Tree's point earlier, they were so good that they actually made the tournament boring for the men.
I mean, it was pretty much over the first half, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it was 36-30, but
yeah, it wasn't even close. I was like, no, yeah. I was like, they're not gonna win. You know, UConn's gonna win. You know, why am I still here? But I watched to the end, and
I only caught the end of it. I was at the baseball game and came in, and it was like they were down by 14. I said, okay, with 8 minutes to go. I mean, that's an eternity because you know kids are gonna start pressing, and they're gonna make some bad shots and turnovers, and that's exactly what happened. Because every time they come down the floor, they feed it into Edie. But why? Every time down the floor, there are 4 other people out there, and UConn was just sitting back, waiting for you to try to get that pass in there. And their center who guarded him, all he did was deflect balls that were trying to come in, entry passes. He didn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, it was a runaway. I mean, let's go on and get into the ladies' game a little bit. It was like you said, Iowa came out and jumped all over them from the beginning. What was it, 10-0, then 20-9?
Yeah, it was 10-0. I said, okay, this is over. South Carolina's going to be humiliated. Because of those 10 points, there was some like parking lot threes from Caitlin. And it was just obscene. Her shooting is otherworldly out there. So
this is not the highlight on the show. I will get to that one.
Yeah, I wasn't watching the beginning, so I came in, it was still kind of close.
I mean, there was run. That's the one, the other guard that's out there. And they always made the great plays, and then those threes were just relentless.
And these highlights are courtesy of the NCAA, by the way. 6'7" senior center Cardoso.
Oh my God, I love her.
I mean, they just had nothing for her.
It didn't.
Because
just hit that layup. She's the one who was getting abused by Cardoso. She tried to body her up. There's a three. Bam.
Now, let's go at this play, though. Watch the young lady get knocked down here. It's coming up. I think it's coming up here. Okay. Did Kayla not push off to get open to him?
Yes, she did. But she pushes off all the time.
My point.
But you can't make that call. You can't make that call at this point in the game. I mean, like throughout the entire game.
It's 10-0. It's 10-0. What do you mean?
Her push was just like James Harden
was a foul.
Yeah, if I had seen that 10-0, I would have been like, so.
Watch what she does here. And look, hey, that's part of the game. Is that more egregious than the block?
Of course it is. There were some fouls that they were getting. They don't have that the arc underneath the circle, underneath the basket where, you stand at the front of that, it's a charge or not. These ladies, look, they just go at each other and charge all the time. And don't, it depends on what the referee's going to call.
That's what I'm saying. The ladies' game is more physical. Look at the post action down there. They get after you down there.
I think I'll be watching the WNBA now.
I give Caitlin. I mean, she is a terrific player.
But they've already started getting ready to try to mess with her head. They're like, okay, you did this a bunch of little girls, all right?
Yeah.
WNBA is grown women. You will not be getting away with a lot of that against grown women. They're already trying to prime her for that.
It'll definitely be an adjustment. it'll definitely be an adjustment for. Look at
Right.
it. I mean,
You know that one of the stories that they talked about with South Carolina that I loved was that Coach Staley helped to create a major for one of the players. Did you guys hear that story? She wanted to. Yeah, she was trying to recruit one of the players, and I can't remember her name. This just kind of popped in my head. They interviewed her, and she's, I think it was like architectural engineering or something like that. And they didn't have that major in South Carolina. So Coach Staley made that happen so that student could study there at South Carolina. I mean, that's some power right there.
This was what? We don't have that. We gonna make it so.
Yeah,
Y'all go hire some architecture teachers. Give me a curriculum.
Yeah, she said the player said she went to all the meetings with the player. She asked questions and make sure that she could have studied the thing that she wanted to study there. I thought that was super incredible.
Everything about Dawn Staley and her evolution has been awesome. I saw some highlights of her. I really hadn't realized how great a player she was. Mm-hmm. Granted, she was on the 96 Olympic team, the team I saw play out at the Disney Institute. The men and the women both practiced out there. The team that came to Atlanta for the Olympics. And she was terrific. And just to see her being coached by a woman that she would pretty much abuse on the regular over the last 3 years. Tara Vanderveer was her coach for the Olympic team, the Stanford coach. Anytime South Carolina played Stanford, it was all she wrote. But she was a very rough, just totally athlete type of person. With all those women on the team, because they all were pros at some point. I think it was Teresa Edwards and McLean and Lisa Leslie. That whole group was the 96 team. And, and Dawn was their point guard. She and Teresa Edwards were like their guards. I mean, they were going to lose to anybody. But she was real rough, especially the interview.
And Tim, you're so right, man. That was a phenomenal team. And I don't think we really got to appreciate. Of course, they didn't get the exposure that you get today.
Right.
If that team came along now with the social media and all of that, and that's the thing with Caitlin Tree, she came around at the right time in terms of her exposure to become, as Tim said, and as Don Saley said, one of the GOATs with the social media and the clicks and the.
I think so. But we know they treat the different players differently. So like some get death threats, which is insane to me. And then some get all these accolades. And so that's the beauty of social media is the exposure. But then it's also detrimental to their psyche, I think, for players, unless they can rise above it. Angel Reese talked about it a lot at her press conference that, she had been getting death threats and AI altered images of her. And it's just, that's
the racist. I think what you're talking, I think that's a great point. And that's the racist,
misogynist
nature of our country.
Yeah, it's bad.
Look what happened. We were talking about Tiger.
They do that with these teams. It's like, I think back, this was like South Carolina versus Iowa was
last year.
Black, it was black versus white. And it was out there.
Yeah.
It takes me back to when UNLV played Duke.
Yeah. Go back even further, Tim. Georgetown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Georgetown was African Americans team.
Yes.
And think of the abuse Patrick Ewing dealt with.
Oh yeah.
Patrick Ewing can't read. And what Patrick speaks 2 or 3 different languages. And he can't read. We were talking
trying to set up this dichotomy of a rivalry or something, and it's just it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
We were talking about Tiger Woods earlier after he won the Masters.
Fuzzy Zola.
Yeah.
Venus and Serena. Just as always. Just when does it stop? Former journalist
about Fuzzy and his attitude toward Tiger, and I got a letter from one of the readers who somehow thought that I was white, and was disparaging Tiger, but it was not the case at all. And it was about Fuzzy and his fried chicken or whatever he wants to eat comment.
Mhm.
You know, that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anytime you do
and people get mad at Tiger because Tiger, after he apologized, Tiger didn't argue. Well, that's okay. I mean, Tiger just let it hang out there for him.
yeah.
Wow. Like, and you pissed at him? Shouldn't you be pissed at the guy that said it?
Yeah.
It's kind. But think about Dawn Staley, Tree. The class she has shown. Every time something gets messy, she just rises above it.
Yeah. It's that uncommon favor that she talked about, her faith. She talked about if you lose, if you win. For her, it's all about, her faith. And she speaks freely about it, which I think is amazing.
And the thing about that team, that was a young team they ran out there last night, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it harkens back to last summer. She knew she had a young team.
Mm-hmm.
Last summer, she was talking about retiring.
Yeah.
She didn't think this team was going to be any good or as good as the ones in the past. And so she seriously was giving that a thought. And here you go. You go, what, 38-0?
Yeah. Yeah.
And wore an awesome jacket on that last night, too. That they kept talking about her jacket. I'm like, so what?
It didn't look like we're going to get Ray tonight. We're having technical difficulties. But, Ben, I definitely want to pursue this with him, and we'll definitely get him back and give you a little more time, Tim. I saw that. Hey, but Tim, I do have a question for you and you, Tree. Before we go, we've always seen all the excitement in women's basketball this year. Is this something that they can build upon and this momentum?
I'm a newcomer to it, so I think so. But I think that I think now, to your point earlier about social media and all this exposure that women's basketball and other teams have that perhaps they didn't have in the past. And I think that plays into it. And they're just good, as long as they keep having good and exciting teams. And I don't even think you need a rivalry of black and white or whatever to make it, to draw people to it. It really is about how well they play, how well they gel as a team.
I'm in agreement with that. I think that South Carolina's a young team. They're going to be back. They got a bunch of young talent. You look at that. You look at Iowa won't be the same without Caitlin, but UConn's going to be great again because Paige Bucher's still there.
Mm.
She was just fire in the game against Iowa. But Ray's not here. Do you have that play, Ricky?
Yeah, I do. And Tim, and let's not forget Juju Watkins out at
USC. I mean, there's young talent. I mean, Watkins is a freshman. Bucher's a junior, and I think and South Carolina has a bunch of freshmen.
Right, and I think these players have inspired future players. And so I think the pipeline of really good, talented players is, we haven't even seen yet.
Here we go.
All right, let's look at the play, and I'll play a little sound with it.
Down one, a trip to the title game on the line. Mule, the drive, 5 seconds left. Looking for Beckers and an offensive foul. Offensive foul on Edwards with 3.9 to go.
Okay, we're going to get a replay of it in a second.
Yeah.
They were trying to set a screen for Paige Beckers.
Watch her knee.
Here.
Look at that. Look at her left knee. You see that?
Edwards barely leading.
Look at her left knee.
Foul is called. Oof.
Tim, No doubt it wasn't a foul, but wasn't that a foul I showed you earlier in the show?
By who?
When
Carlos pushes off?
when Caitlin pushed off.
Yeah, it's a foul.
Okay.
It's a foul, yes.
No
and that was
argument.
a foul there.
No argument.
That was a foul right there. She might have squared up. She squared her body up, but she stuck that padded knee out there to try to impede the young lady trying to get around her. Now watch it again.
We definitely got to get Derek on to break this down for us.
You know, she's all, you know, what did I do? This young lady is like, what did I do? What did I do? Let's look at that left knee. She stuck her leg out.
Yeah, she fouled.
Yes.
It's
So,
a
if you
foul.
can't make that call then, please.
Yeah. But Tim, you were saying earlier, call every foul.
Oh,
You think
that's not gonna ever happen. These games they'll still be playing right now if they called every foul. Just like in the NFL.
Playoff is 9 seconds left.
Just like the NFL. There's holding on every play.
Right.
There's a penalty on every play. It's just how does it impact the game? I have one of my coworkers is a referee, and if there's a pass downfield for a touchdown or whatever it is, and a kid who is out of the play is holding somebody, and then the world sees the kid being held, it's not impacting the play. They don't make that call. But if it's germane to what's happening, if it has a real impact on the play, yeah, you make the call.
Yeah. Well, refs miss calls, so
Do they?
you know. Yeah.
Refs miss calls?
We'll ask
Balls
their
and strikes?
staff.
They miss balls and strikes too? Oh, okay.
They really missed some balls and strikes in the Detroit game the other day. So yeah. Hey, well, we're gonna get out of here, man. What a great conversation tonight, celebrating Hank Aaron. I mean, like I said, 50 years. It's unbelievable.
He's still the home run king. Forget Barry Bonds. He's still the home run king. Hank did it without any batting gloves.
In a lot of people's eyes, he's still the king.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an aside, as I was working with Aflac, we were doing the Aflac All-America thing. We had an event in San Francisco, and Barry was sitting on 714. I was at the game where they played against St. Louis that night, and I was thinking, if he hits the home run, I would have seen 715 twice.
Wow.
But he ended up hitting a couple of singles, and I was sitting there going, dude, please, like this is bizarre to be in the ballpark tonight.
Wow.
If he did it again.
Now, I'm surprised he didn't, because when he made that run, man, he got so hot. He was hitting everything that, I mean, it was unreal what he was doing. And some people say the reason why it was unreal is because he was on something. And
well, we don't know that. We don't know that. It's never been proven.
He's such a gifted player anyway.
And that's the thing about it. We can go into the steroid thing all you want to. Shoot me up with as much steroids as possible. I'm not hitting some of those fast balls.
Yeah.
It's all about talent. The kid had talent, irrespective. It's not like steroids makes you have a better batter's eye or better skills. It just enhances what you already have.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to take a guy, bagging groceries in Publix, shoot him up, he's going to be an all-star.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, anyway, Tree's just laughing.
Like, what? I got to bring Publix into it. Like I'm bring the bag boys into it.
Kroger.
I'm sorry, Kroger.
Tim Horton, Kroger.
Okay. All right.
Well, we're going to get out of here from my great friends, Tim Turner, Tree McDougal. I'm Rick Hampton.
All right. Be kind, everyone.